From the heart of the Space City to the heart of Gen Z, welcome to Next Gen Conversation. Not Dad's Talk Radio. Ethan talks to you about the issues and events that matter to our generation. This is the Next Gen Report with Ethan Buchanan.
Hey, everybody. How are we? Welcome to the Next Gen Report, live stream now for the very first time on X. I have never done this before, so I apologize if you're watching on the X live stream right now, something looks a little funky, something sounds a little funky. I'm working through the, I guess you could say birthing pains. I don't want to say birthing pains because that sounds kind of weird, but if there's something wrong, just use the chat. Just let me know. Just say, hey, this issue is going on. I'll do my best to fix it. No promises, because I am quite literally winging it right now. But thank you very much for tuning in. I definitely want to put a premium here on, interactions. By all means, if I say something that you think is stupid, weigh in. I'm going to play a lot of videos, a lot of clips. We're going to have Whoopi Goldberg in here being a goofball, Sonny Hostin, the whole can of biscuits over there on The View. So by all means, weigh in, comment. I love the feedback. Brad says, except for Kent. Kent should not weigh in. Play nice in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I ask. Just play nice. But yeah, this is so great. I am very excited. If you're listening right now on AM 950 KPRC, I'm sorry in advance. You are listening to a recording of the live stream. Please don't hate me. Please forgive me. I know I'm not broadcasting live like I usually do. However, I think this is maybe more fun. We'll see. All right. Let's start off. I'm going to talk about the World Cup a little bit, and here's why. It's not because I care about soccer. I don't. But if you've been listening to the show the last episode or two, we've talked about the World Cup a little bit, the World Cup tourists, and I think all of that has been fantastic. What I want to show you this time around, I want to play with video. This is some goober who did, I think, possibly the funniest thing. And that is, he went to the English team's training ground and they were doing like an autograph signing. And he printed out a copy of the Declaration of Independence. And he got the entire English team to sign the United States Declaration of Independence. Check it out. Here's the video.
We're going to see England, and our goal today is to get as many of their players as possible to sign these copies of the Declaration of Independence. Nice declaration, man. Appreciate it.
There we go.
I
Just
think it'll
signing
go
it.
pretty well. Can we go a quick photo? Thanks, boss. I think they're just going to be signing for sure Harry Kane. Thanks, man. That's the big tune-up.
They're all
That's
just signing
for, Declaration. Thanks, man. The big guy. Any others is fine, but we want Harry Kane to sign this. Sign my declaration. Thanks, man.
He literally told him. He says, sign my declaration. It's not like he was sneaking him. He told him. I mean, he probably could have said, hey, this is the U.S. Declaration of Independence, and they might not have signed it. But whatever. Just let him go. Let him have a good time. That is funny to me. I think technically, I don't know what exactly the laws are in Great Britain, but I do believe technically they just committed high treason. They might want to talk to their lawyers. That's why I don't ever sign anything without my lawyer looking it over. My wedding took 45 minutes because before we signed the little piece of paper the government gives you so you can file your taxes, I had the lawyer look it over. It's a 1-page contract with 4 words. It says, are you married? And you just got to sign it. I still had a lawyer give it a once-over every single time. All right, checking in on the hat. A bunch of people want me to put on a bowler hat. I'm not going to put on the bowler hat, and here's why. It just will not cooperate with these headphones. Believe it or not, I have tried it. But because I do not have earbuds, I have proper over-the-ear headphones. I cannot put a hat on. Maybe I will get a pair of earbuds and I'll put on the bowler hat. I do have a bowler hat. I'm not going to put it on. What I will do is I will show you something that I think personally was really fun and I had a great time watching and enjoying, and that was the UFC Freedom 250 fight at the White House. Now, the woke left wants you to believe that this event is terrible and awful and sucks. I'm going to be honest. I think it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool. And, there was a lot of back and forth leading up to this event about, oh, this is a degradation of the White House. Oh, this is just the elites doing their bread and circus bit. All of the typical naysaying. I don't think that was the case. I think this really was just an awesome display of the United States of America and our athletic ability. The athletes that we have here in the United States are some of the best in the world. Our national sport is fighting. It is. All right. You can have arguments about football or baseball or college football or whatever. The national sport is fighting. That's what it always has been. That's what it always will be. That's why our good sport, football, is like 90% fighting over a ball. But check this out. Despite everything the left was saying about how terrible this event was, how this was a disgrace to the nation, I want to show you some of just the obscene patriotism. And by obscene, I mean just in terms of quantity. This was one of the most patriotic events I have ever seen in my entire life. And I want to show you an example of this. This is a massive crowd of just regular folk on the White House lawn going absolutely bananas over a bald eagle. It is the coolest thing in the world. Check this out. USA, USA, USA. I mean, that's just cool. That's just cool. How can you not love that? And I mean, the left has been going on and on the entire time the ballroom has been under construction. Oh, this is the people's house. How could Donald Trump do this? This is probably the most access any of these people have ever had to the White House. This is probably the most access that just you, the viewer, has ever had to the White House. And it was just done in celebration of how awesome our fighters are. This is really cool stuff. And believe it or not, that was actually one of the least patriotic moments of the weekend, which I know is hard to believe. It's shocking. How is that the low point of patriotism for this event? Trust me, it was. We're going to get into all of that in just a second. I got to take a quick break. I need a drink of water. This is a live stream, but I'm cutting it for radio. So just stay tuned. We'll be right back after just a few minutes and a sip of water. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. Welcome to more of the Next Gen Report, live on X right now. If you're listening to the podcast, we are recording all of this, so if you are in the live X stream, thank you so much for joining, for tuning in. Thank you for sticking around after the first segment. I was a little bit nervous. I was kind of worried a lot of you might leave. Brad in the comments, putting in the hard work, keeping everyone entertained, making sure they stick around. Thank you, Brad. I love you. But yeah, we're live streaming on X right now. We're recording. We're going to broadcast on AM 950 KPRC. If you're listening to it there, thank you. If you're listening on the podcast, hey, don't miss out on the next one. I'm sure I'll do this again. Follow me on X @_ Ethan Buchanan, BUCHANAN. Real quick, I want to ask everyone just to do me a quick solid. And if you enjoyed the first segment, I want to ask you to support the people that made that first segment possible. One, my wife, for tolerating the fact that I did that. Just give her a quick little prayer. She has to tolerate a lot. And then two, our amazing sponsor, Deus Volt lapel pins. I really do love these guys. I really do love this company. I'm wearing one of these right now. The Deus Volt lapel pins are fantastic products. They're not a single one over, I think, $7 a piece. They're getting a little close there, $6.83. But they have a whole host of fantastic products. They've got everything from lapel pins to card decals. They've also got a bunch of stuff here at the top. If you're watching the stream, you can see it. Pre-release designs. If any of these look interesting to you, Go on there right now. Get on that priority wait list. These are going to go live, I believe, this weekend. I guarantee you by Saturday night, they will be gone. That's just how fast these things sell out. Everyone who buys one of these loves them and wants more. So if you see anything on here that you think looks cool, just as a favor to me, go check out the website. If you see anything on there that you think looks cool, that you want, get on the wait list, order it right now. You can use promo code NEXTPIN2026. You'll get 10% off of your order. And already, this stuff is not expensive. That's not to say it's cheap. This is high quality stuff, but it's just not expensive, okay? So check it out. You can get an extra 10% off with my promo code NEXTPIN2026. Support the show. Support an amazing Texas-based Christian business that, frankly, makes a fantastic product. All right. Now, with all that being said, again, feel free to lay in the comment section anything that I say that you think is crazy. By all means, call me out in the chat. I love to see the interaction. I'm going to pose this quick question to everyone, just to kind of get your mind stewing, get the chat flowing. I had a conversation today at the iHeart Houston studios with one of our producers, and he had mentioned just how great and convenient urinals are. And I think obviously that's true. Everybody loves the convenience of a urinal. He mentioned having urinals in the home, making that a residential thing. That is right about where I draw the line, I think. Because if you have a urinal all the time, everywhere, and it's not a special little treat for when you're out and about, it kind of loses the magic. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the chat. I'll be reading those off periodically. So, anyway, just give me your thoughts. Now, going back to the UFC 250, the Freedom 250 thing at the White House, we heard constantly from the left all this back and forth about how this was really just a big... What is the word to use here? It's almost a vanity project for Donald Trump is what they were saying. I think that was ridiculous the entire time. It was never a vanity project for Donald Trump. It was something cool that happened to be on his birthday. But this was as much, if not more, about just the United States of America than it ever was about Donald Trump or even, the UFC itself. I think a prime example of that was this random CNN interviewer just found this other member of the press, is what it looks like to me, and had a quick sit down with him. It's like, hey, what do you think about all of this? And he didn't say, oh, this is super political. Oh, this is all about Donald Trump. He actually said the complete opposite of all of that. He says, this just feels like a good time. Check it out.
I mean, having been here all weekend, talking to people from the Lincoln Memorial on Friday night where they had the ceremonial press conference. Obviously, here at the Ellipse last night, there was the ceremonial weigh-in. And of course, tonight we're going to have the big fight. It's been a very surreal weekend here in Washington, D.C. I mean, this feels like a UFC event, right? And nobody here is really talking politics. Very few MAGA hats even. This does not feel like a political event. It might feel, I think, a little differently at the VIP zone where I'm sure we'll have a lot of MAGA personalities and things. But in terms of, people watching at home, and many people think it's disgraceful for all of this to be happening in Washington, D.C. For the fans of the UFC, they are absolutely delighted. This is a dream come true for them. But
I think that kind of speaks to the fact that Republicans are very good, and Republicans, conservatives, whatever label you want to put on it, right-wingers. We tend to be very good, definitely far better than the left at this, at not making everything about politics. The left can't do that to save their lives. Every single thing, all the time, always has to be politics, politics, politics. And they have nothing going on. They have no friends. They have no hobbies. They have no exciting things to do on the weekend. It's all just politics. So when you see something that, other than the attendance of the president, is fairly apolitical, they don't know how to handle it. Their minds explode. It's like you've shown them the wonders of the universe from a magic portal brought to you by aliens. Just the human mind can't comprehend it. But it's literally just a big sporting event at probably the coolest venue in human history. Now, he mentioned it there, that random Englishman that was being interviewed. Oh, they've said this is disgraceful for this to happen at the White House. And the Democrats have been using the line, oh, it's the people's house. It's like, again, this is clearly what the people want to have done with this. I would rather have the White House become this than whatever Joe Biden was doing with it when he was in office. I'm not going to play any of the pictures or the videos, but you've all seen them. They're still floating around X to this day of all the transgender folk that Joe Biden would just constantly parade through the White House and out onto the White House lawn topless. And that wasn't a disgrace to the people's house. But a bunch of guys just being guys and kicking butt, that's somehow a disgrace. What are we doing? Where is the just intellectual honesty from the left? And the reality is they just don't have any. I do feel bad for them because the complete lockstep that being on the left requires means they have to pretend that this sucked. They can't just say, oh, yeah, it was cool, but it's not for me. I don't like the UFC or whatever. They have to pretend it sucks. And you've seen this all over the internet, in the mainstream media. Constantly, they've been talking about how terrible this was. It objectively did not suck. And listen, I'm not really a big UFC fan. But after that, I 100% am. Because it was just awesome. It just was. I'll give you an example of how awesome this is. Check this out. This is right after the national anthem. Of course, they had a military flyover, and it was the Blue Angels. And it was just sick. It looked visually sick. Everything about this is just super cool. Check this out. And there they go. And believe it or not, that's just a video that someone filmed on their phone. Imagine how much cooler the actual Paramount Plus broadcast was. And I watched it. It was awesome. I mean, you got to be working overtime. You got to do mental gymnastics to pretend that that was not the coolest thing in the world. But yet, that's exactly what the left is doing. Here's a tweet from Raul Rykov. There's a lot about this UFC White House event that should not sit well with you. At the top of the list should be that you can't watch it unless you subscribe to Paramount Plus. It's not public. Really? That's your beef? An $8 a month subscription to Paramount Plus? Be real. Quit complaining. And for the record, I did watch this event without an $8 subscription to Paramount Plus because my brother had one. That's all you got to do. It's not that hard. Just bum a login off your friends and family. It really is that easy. Listen, we've got a lot more. JD Vance has been on a killer media run. He torched The View. We're going to talk about all of that in just a second coming up. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the Next Gen Report, live on X, broadcasted via AM 950 KPRC. Welcome. All right, we've been talking about the USA Freedom 250. Of course, the question of the day is, should we have residential urinals? If you are in the X live stream right now, by all means, weigh in on this. It's important. It's the question of a century. Scientists still can't answer. Should we or should we not have residential urinals? I say no. I have yet to see a good argument in favor. That's my answer. All right. If you're just listening right now to the podcast or the AM 950 rebroadcast, by all means, reach out to me on X at _Ethan Buchanan, Buchanan. Feel free to weigh in after the fact. This is like a California election. It can be a week later. If you're hearing this, still feel free to send in your opinions via X. All right, back to the UFC. I think this whole event, when it's all said and done, all put together, was a net benefit for the United States, actually morally. It wasn't just cool. It wasn't just entertaining. It wasn't just patriotic. And it was all of those things. But I think there was actual real moral value to this event. And here's why. Mauricio Rufy was one of the fighters. I'm not overly familiar with this guy because, again, I don't watch the UFC. I'm not really a martial arts guy. That's not my thing. He won his fight, and immediately after his fight, he gave what I think was one of the most sincere shout-outs to God that I have ever seen in sports. And you do see a lot of these, and a lot of these are very sincere. But this one just kind of hit me a little bit differently. Maybe it'll hit you differently as well. Take a listen to this.
For everything, Dana White, Hunter, congratulations, spectacular event. Thank you so much, I'm so happy. And I have a message. In John chapter 3, verse 16 say, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. Jesus changed my life. Jesus saved my life. Jesus want to save your life too. Give your life to Jesus. Thank you so much.
That was just super cool. That was super cool. And again, it was very sincere. You're going to have to forgive his accent. I hope everybody listening could make that out. I was able to make it out. He does have a pretty thick accent, but I think that actually adds real moral value, because think of how many people saw that. I mean, just that tweet showing that I played for you just now, that alone has 266,000 views. That might not sound like that much, but that's 266,000 people that just heard the gospel. That's cool. As a Christian, I think that's really cool. And then that's one of many tweets that were sharing that same clip. And then there must have been, I don't think Paramount has released the viewership data, but there must have been millions of people watching that. And then probably a few 100,000 more that pirated it. So that's a whole bunch of people, millions of people probably, that just heard a very sincere, brief gospel message. I think that's fantastic. And I think that is a fantastic use for the people's house, the White House. It's definitely way better than topless transvestites parading around. 1,000% better than that. 1,000,000,000% even. Whatever percent you want to throw at it. It's way better. Now, that is not the only moment of the night that is going viral. Brad pirated it. He just let us know in the chat. I'm letting the FCC know. Brad's going to jail. But beyond that, there was a moment that angered a lot of people. That moment made a lot of people happy. This moment that I'm about to play you made a lot of people very, very angry. They got very upset about this. And I'm going to play it for you because I think it was funny. I do. I think it was hilarious. This is, I don't know who this fighter is because I wasn't really paying that much attention during the fight. I was on my phone. I'm sorry. I'm Gen Z. Forgive me. But I was on my phone during this fight, but I locked in when I heard this guy say this. And you're going to want to hear it too. Just take a listen.
And lastly, Michelle Obama is a man. Am I right, America? Ladies and gentlemen.
And the crowd goes, woo! Michelle Obama is a man. Now, I think that was fun. I think that was funny. It was funny, okay? I know we're supposed to pretend that, oh, this was super bad. How could he have said this? What a mean person. How could he be so mean to Michelle Obama? It was funny. It was. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you should leave the families of politicians out of it. They're not political figures. They're not public figures. They're just their family, la-di-da-di-da. So you shouldn't be allowed to make fun of them or bully them or tease them or whatever. I think for like the children of politicians, that definitely should be true. But for people like Michelle Obama, who overtly makes herself a public figure, constantly going on podcasts and TV interviews and putting out books and la-di-da-di-da, you can't really make the case that she's not a public figure. She is a public figure. She's putting herself out there like that. She's doing the celebrity bit. Celebrities, just like politicians, are subject to being mocked and teased a little bit. That's just part of being in public. I get it all the time, and I'm hardly even in public. I'm on a live stream right now with less than 100 viewers. I broadcast an AM radio show. I'm by no means a celebrity. And even I get the mocking, the teasing. It happens all the time. It's fine. I've made peace with that because I've chosen that. That's the trade-off. I've submitted myself to that. Michelle Obama needs to quit complaining about it. Lucky for Michelle Obama, she doesn't even have to complain about it because Sunny Hostin will go on The View and complain about it for her. And boy, oh boy, did Sunny Hostin drop, I think, maybe the most ridiculous reason that we should all be offended about this joke. Take a listen to Sunny Hostin on The View.
I do want to address the derogatory slur made about the former First Lady Michelle Obama. Because
all right, first of all, the derogatory slur. All he did was say Michelle Obama is a man. I just played it for you. You just heard it. Michelle Obama is a man. He didn't use even a slur for transvestites, and there's a lot of them out there. There's some good ones. But all he said was Michelle Obama is a man. So maybe I missed it, but if man is a slur now, we've got a whole can of biscuits that we need to start baking because we got problems.
Because I think it's important to address. We won't dignify what was said by repeating it, but you should look it up. And I think the reason that it's important is because for a long time, and the roots are in slavery, black women...
There it is. The roots are in slavery. The roots are in slavery. That's why he said Michelle Obama is a man. It's because of slavery, guys. It's because of slavery. You have to be upset about this because he only said it because of slavery.
Women have been slurred and made to feel that they were unattractive, made to feel that they were masculine, made to feel that they were... they didn't have the femininity that a white woman would have. And so there's this intersectionality between racism and sexism that was on full display at the White House. The crowd laughed at the statement.
The crowd laughed at the statement because it was funny. It wasn't an intersectionality of racism and sexism. It's an intersectionality of people who love jokes and a really good years-long joke about how Michelle Obama is kind of buff. Like really buff. Like way buffer than any woman I've ever seen. I am confident that Michelle Obama could arm wrestle Serena Williams into the dirt right now. That's where that joke came from. It's not everything is racism. Not everything is slavery. Michelle Obama is just buff, and this is a years-long running joke and meme. Not everything has to go back to slavery, but with these people, it does. It's like I was talking about earlier. Everything is always about politics. It can't just be, oh, they made a joke that I didn't like, which would be fine. If you didn't like that joke, that's fine. One of my favorite comedians is Shane Gillis, and he was caught by a reporter walking out of the UFC event, and they asked him, what did you think of that joke? And he said, I didn't love it. And that's fine. You don't have to love it. Not everybody's sense of humor is the same. Not everybody has to find the same things funny. But Shane Gillis didn't go on a rant about how, oh, terrible and awful it is that he said that because it's a joke. It was clearly a joke. The crowd laughed and the crowd cheered because it was a good joke. It was a funny joke. We should encourage good and funny jokes, even if they aggravate Sunny Hostin on The View. Actually, I would go as far as to say, especially if they aggravate Sunny Hostin on The View. I mean, for the love of God, if you don't want this to keep happening, stop making such a big deal out of it. It's that simple. It's really not a big deal. Stop pretending it is a big deal, and people will stop doing it. All right, we got a lot more coming up. We're going to talk about JD Vance. He's been on fire. Stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back. This will be the last 10 or so minutes of this live stream, so I want to thank you real quick. I want to take some time. If you've tuned in at the beginning, you're still watching, I appreciate it. I'm glad you've enjoyed the show. If you tuned in and you didn't enjoy the show, I already got roughly 30 minutes of your life, and you're not getting it back, so you might as well just follow me real quick while you're here. I for real have have had a great time doing this live broadcast, so thank you very much. While you're here, I want to ask you real quick one more time, go support our sponsor, deusvult.lapelpin.com. Just check them out, DEUSVULT, lapelpins.com. Just see what they got. If you find something you like, use the promo code NEXTPIN2026. You'll get 10% off. Go get you 5 or so lapel pins. You can wear a different one every day of the week. They really are cool, and they're a good product. So, anyway, all that out of the way, we're talking about The View now. We've kind of transitioned from the UFC to now we're talking about The View. So, I apologize in advance if you need to, if you need to inebriate a little bit in order to tolerate Joy Behar's voice. I understand that. Please drink responsibly. By all means, pop a top, brace yourself. This is going to be a doozy. JD Vance was on with The View. And JD Vance might be one of the best picks for vice president in the history of the United States, just because of how good and effective of an advocate for the administration he is. I've kind of been bummed out that we haven't been seeing him as much. I want to see more of him. He's really good at this. Marco Rubio has kind of had the spotlight, which is fine too. Marco Rubio is fantastic. But I want to play you this clip of JD Vance just absolutely crushing the ladies of The View when it comes to, again, ye old racisms. The ladies of The View made the claim that Donald Trump is just degrading and erasing black people. And JD Vance actually pressed them on that. He was like, okay, well, what are you actually talking about? Give me an example of this. And they have absolutely nothing. They're like, well, he's just doing it, man. He's just doing it. Check this out.
And you were talking about people. What did black people do to this administration that has allowed it to really stigmatize folks of color? And you know how hard it is. You have folks of color in your family.
Sure.
So when you see, things, the Emmett Till stuff coming down, or them doing all kinds of removal of information of black heroes, how does that sit with you?
Well, what exactly are you talking about, Whoopi? Because
okay, that right there is the perfect answer to that question. Forgive me for answering your question with a question, but what are you talking about, Whoopi? And I don't even know what she's talking about. I live, eat, and breathe politics all day, every day. The news, the politics, it's literally what I do for a living. And I had no idea what she was talking about. JD Vance didn't either. And so he asked her, well, what are you talking about? Her answer is terrible.
I know Emmett Till was the kid. No, I want to know what she's.
You don't know what I'm talking about.
To your actual point.
So in a lot of the museums, there's so many. Where they're taking down the actual history that happened in this country. Slavery happened. All kinds of stuff happened, and it seems that it has been very easy for this administration to remove that, and also to denigrate black folks who have worked their behinds off.
So just so we're all clear as to what just happened, she said, Donald Trump is doing this. And JD Vance responded with, can you give me any sort of example of where Donald Trump did that so that I can kind of dig into this and discuss it with you? And she's like, well, he's just doing it. There's just tons of examples of him doing it. Okay, like what, Whoopi? Like what?
To get this American dream, how do you, you know better.
So Sonny, that was actually a very helpful intervention, because I think the story you're talking about is where, allegedly the administration is holding back the appointments of people based on skin color. I've seen this story.
I'm talking about a host of things. I'm talking about black history getting erased from public spaces. Black voter districts are being dismantled. Black leaders are being sidelined from our ranks. Where do Americans of color fit in this vision? Because it doesn't seem like we fit.
I think, Sonny, my view.
Okay, so there's the root issue here. It's Sonny Hostin's feelings. That's what this is. It doesn't seem like black Americans fit in this administration because of, again, what? We don't really know. Again, they never cited a specific example of, here's a piece of Black history that Donald Trump took down. The most concrete thing that we got from Sonny Hostin was, well, what about all these Black districts? You mean the racial gerrymandering throughout the South? The blatantly unconstitutional racial gerrymandering across the South? Yeah, we're taking that down. We're taking that down, and it's gone. Goodbye. If that's the most racist thing that this Trump administration has done, undoing racial gerrymandering, the political segregation of Blacks in the United States, which has been going on for as long as Black people could vote in this country, and now Donald Trump is undoing it, and you're mad about that? Whatever. That's a tough case for racism, but go off, Sonny Hostin. All right, let's talk about something a little bit more important than The View. The Iran war it looks like this time around, for real, guys, it's actually happening. This time for sure, might actually possibly maybe be ending, which is great news. It is great news because it kind of seems like we're getting pretty much everything that we want. The BBC did a little bit of a breakdown about the deal that's supposed to be signed this Friday. Trump may release U.S.-Iran deal before Friday, Vance says. Donald Trump may decide to release a preliminary deal to end the war with Iran before Friday, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance says, after the U.S. president said the agreement had already been signed. Vance has described the Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, between the U.S. and Iran as about a page and a half and very general document. So basically, this is just everybody saying, hey, we agree that we're done fighting and we're going to sort out what I get and what you get, over the next couple of days. That's what it seems like to me. Now, we don't have the text of this yet. So I'm not going to say it's a good deal or a bad deal because I don't know, because I haven't seen it. I would encourage all of you to take the same approach. Everybody wants to say the Iran deal is good or bad based on politics. And nobody actually knows because nobody's read it. Barack Obama's out there saying it's a bad deal. It's worse than my deal. How do you know? You haven't read it. The Republicans are saying it's the greatest deal in human history. How do you know? You haven't read it. It might be good. It might be the best deal ever. It might be the worst deal ever. We don't know. Now, I am inclined to say I think it's probably going to be a good deal because that's kind of President Trump's track record. But we don't know it's a good deal because we haven't read it. That's all I'm asking for. Be a little bit intellectually honest. Just wait a minute, all right? Wait for the text, read the text, then decide whether or not it's a good deal after you actually know what is in the deal. Don't buy into the hype. Don't buy into the mainstream media lies. This is one thing that blew my mind. Some Iranian news agency quoted an anonymous source inside the Iranian government and said this was a great deal for Iran because the United States was going to give them $300 billion just for signing the deal. That was the report that went out. I had people even in my social circles that heard that and believed it because an Iranian state media agency reported it, sorting an anonymous Iranian source. That is the least trustworthy thing I have ever heard. But it got parroted by our media, and a bunch of people just scrolled past it and believed it. And if that was the case, it would be terrible. No, we should not give Iran $300 billion just for signing a piece of paper. But that's not even happening, and it was never going to happen. But a bunch of people just read a bunch of reports from another bunch of people that had no idea what they were talking about and believed it. It's a tragedy. All right, listen, this has been fantastic. I have enjoyed live streaming on X with you. If you're listening to the broadcast or the podcast, go follow me on X at _Ethan Buchanan, BUCHANAN, so that you don't miss the next live stream. I am Ethan Buchanan. This has been the Next Gen Report. God bless. We'll see you Sunday at 7 on AM 950 KPRC in Houston and affiliates across Texas.